Have you ever seen a fan base turn on its most decorated coach right in the middle of a game? Well, that's exactly what happened at Boone Pickens Stadium, where chants of "Fire Gundy" echoed through the night as Oklahoma State suffered a stunning home loss to in-state group of 5 opponent Tulsa. What should have been a chance for the Cowboys to bounce back after a humiliating 69-3 defeat at the hands of Oregon just 2 weeks ago turned into a nightmare that has fans questioning everything about the future of their program and its longtime leader, Mike Gundy. Fans had been waiting, hoping, even expecting a statement win after the bye week. But instead, they got a performance that looked uninspired, flat, and frustrating. With less than 4 minutes left, Tulsa leading 19-12, and the Cowboys running out of time, the frustration inside the stadium boiled over. The cameras picked it up, the broadcast carried it, and there was no mistaking it. Thousands of voices chanting "Fire Gundy" filled the stadium, a sound that once seemed unthinkable for the man who completely reshaped Oklahoma State football over the past 2 decades. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about this. How does a coach who has led a program to consistent winning seasons, bowl appearances, and even helped build its national reputation, suddenly find himself under siege from his own fans? This isn't just about one bad game. This is about years of rising expectations, mounting frustration, and the brutal reality of college football culture in 2024. A culture where loyalty can vanish in an instant, and where the question is always, "What have you done for me lately?" Mike Gundy, a native of Midwest City, Oklahoma, has been the face of this program since 2005. He's led the Cowboys to 12 bowl victories, more than any other coach in school history. He's turned a once-average program into a consistent Big 12 contender. He's recruited stars, developed NFL talent, and built a reputation as one of the longest-tenured and most successful coaches in college football. And yet, on September 19th, the sound that filled the stadium was not applause, not encouragement, but fans demanding his job. That's the reality of the sport right now. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. Tulsa's victory wasn't just another upset. It was their first win in Stillwater since 1951. That's right, 73 years had passed since the Golden Hurricane last beat Oklahoma State on the road. History was made, but not the kind Cowboy fans wanted to witness. Instead of celebrating a fresh start, they found themselves trapped in the same cycle of disappointment that defined last season, when Oklahoma State limped to a 3-9 finish. Now imagine being a fan in the stands. You've paid for your tickets, you've stuck with the team through tough times, and you're hoping that maybe, just maybe, this season will be different. But when the team looks lifeless and the scoreboard shows yet another embarrassing result, the only power you feel you have left is your voice. That's why the chants mattered. That's why they carried weight. It wasn't just noise, it was a message. But let's stop here for a second and ask the question. Is this fair to Mike Gundy? After all, this is a coach who has given nearly 2 decades of his life to Oklahoma State, delivered more wins than anyone in school history, and put the program on the map. Should one horrific loss and a rough couple of seasons be enough to erase that legacy? Or, on the other hand, is it fair for fans to demand change when the product on the field has fallen so far below expectations? These are the tough questions every college program has to wrestle with eventually. College football today moves at lightning speed. Just this season alone, UCLA parted ways with Deshaun Foster and Virginia Tech moved on from Brent Pry. Neither of those men had the history or legacy of Mike Gundy, but their dismissals prove one thing. Patience is thinner than ever. Athletic directors, boosters, and especially fans are no longer willing to wait years for turnarounds. They want results now, and if they don't get them, the pressure to make a move becomes unbearable. And let's not forget the backdrop here. The Big 12 is changing. Realignment has shifted the landscape, the transfer portal has created roster instability, and name, image, and likeness deals have transformed recruiting battles. Programs that adapt quickly rise. Programs that don't, they get left behind. For some fans, Gundy represents the old era, a steady hand but maybe not the innovator needed to push Oklahoma State into the future. Still, the irony of all this is hard to ignore. Just 2 weeks earlier, Gundy was sparring verbally with Oregon's Dan Lanning, trying to bring fire and intensity before the Ducks crushed his Cowboys 69-3. That humiliation already had fans grumbling. But this loss to Tulsa may have been the final straw. To many, it wasn't just about losing. It was about losing at home to a smaller in-state program, in a game where the Cowboys looked unprepared and uninspired. For fans, that is unacceptable. So what happens now? Oklahoma State's leadership finds itself in a delicate position. On one hand, firing a coach with Gundy's resume and legacy could backfire. On the other, keeping him after 2 straight seasons of disappointment might signal complacency. College football is a business, and in this business, perception often matters just as much as performance. Right now, the perception in Stillwater is that change is needed. And here's a twist you might not expect. The players. How do they react to hearing their fans chant against their coach in real time? Do they rally around him? Or do they feel the weight of the discontent, making it even harder to focus and perform? These are young athletes, many of them teenagers, suddenly caught in the middle of a storm much bigger than themselves. That's another layer to the story, one that sometimes gets overlooked in the chaos. But here's another thought worth holding on to. History doesn't guarantee the future. Mike Gundy's incredible track record won't protect him if the losses keep piling up. Fans don't care about what happened 5, 10, or 15 years ago. They care about what's happening right now. And right now, the product on the field isn't good enough. The chants on September 19th made that crystal clear. Now let's look at the broader trend. In modern college football, even legends are not safe. Just ask coaches at Nebraska, Florida, or Auburn. Schools with proud traditions and historic leaders have all reached a point where loyalty gave way to impatience. Oklahoma State could be heading down the same road. So where does this leave Cowboy Nation? Some fans will defend Gundy to the end, reminding everyone of the wins, the bowl victories, the stability he brought to the program. Others will argue it's time for fresh leadership, a new vision, someone who can energize the program and restore faith in the stands. What unites them all, however, is a deep passion for the team and a desire to see it succeed. That passion is what fueled those chants, even if they stung. As the season continues, all eyes will be on Stillwater. Every snap, every play, every win or loss will be magnified under the spotlight of growing pressure. Gundy himself knows this. He's been in the game long enough to understand how quickly tides can turn. His challenge now is not just to win games, but to win back the trust of his fan base. And that, as any coach will tell you, might be the hardest battle of all. So the next time the Cowboys take the field, remember this moment. Remember the chants, the frustration, the disappointment, but also the history, the loyalty, and the complicated emotions tied up in college football fandom. Because at its core, this isn't just a story about one coach or one team. It's a story about how sports connect us, divide us, and ultimately remind us how much we care. And perhaps that's the real hook here. A coach who once symbolized hope and success now faces his toughest opponent yet. Not Tulsa, not Oregon, but the very fans who once cheered his name. The only question now is whether Mike Gundy can turn the tide, or whether September 19th, 2024, will be remembered as the night Cowboy Nation finally said, "Enough is enough."